first ever live women-empowered webinar.
From our living room.
You guys, this is our real house. This is not a Hollywood stage. This is real.
It's very real. The kids are next door outside playing.
Kids are playing with grandma, and we are stoked to be here. You guys, I've already done a couple live webinars with Hidon and the crew. This is Eve's first one since the coronavirus situation took underway, and you know, she's a little excited.
I'm very excited. We've had a lot of requests for some women-empowered live action here, so here we are.
So let's talk about our audience first, then we'll talk to our audience.
Yeah.
So our audience, just so you guys know that we know who you are. Number one, the vast majority train at certified training centers all over the world, or with us here at Grace University in Torrance, right down the street, which is completely empty right now, sadly enough. The big green mat. But we have our little green mat here. So you're either a student at a CTC or here at GU headquarters, or you're the girlfriend, wife, sister, mother, daughter, auntie, oh, something, grandma, grandpa. Listen, someone related to someone who does jiu-jitsu, because otherwise you wouldn't have access to this special, live, exclusive CTC-only webinar. So if you're the friend or family member of a student of ours, you may be embarking on this journey for the first time today. And we encourage that. We're excited to have you on board. And you're going to learn some amazing techniques. And our goal is this, and you can call it ambitious if you want, that by the time Corona clears, you find yourself a CTC and you continue on the jiu-jitsu journey. If we do our jobs here today, and next weekend, a couple weekends from now, we're still going to be going, that will be the mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
I think that's the victory.
That would be amazing if we actually started jiu-jitsu journeys while this is all happening.
Yes.
But for those of you who are more experienced and who have done a few classes, we're also here for you too. We're going to do some great reviews of techniques you may or may not have seen. And we're just going to kind of dive by subject. Today's subject and focus is skates.
Yeah, we're going to talk about lots of wrist releases and some trap and rolls as well. And here's the thing, for those who already do jiu-jitsu, it's going to be unique to see a consolidation of techniques rather than we do in group classes where we kind of segment. Every day we see a couple moves, two moves of different topics. And you kind of get a little bit lost sometimes about the context of jiu-jitsu and women empowered. Today we're going to keep it all so grouped together that you're going to go, oh wow, there's the whole picture. Now you're going to start making some connections. So the benefit for existing students is going to be a consolidation of techniques. For newer students, it's going to be, oh my gosh, these are problems I didn't have solutions to, now I do. But there's one problem / concern we have to address before we get cracking here. For all the husbands and fathers and brothers and sons and guys out there, the training partners right now, all the people who are the training partners right now, listen, I'm talking mainly to you guys, especially if you do jiu-jitsu and now if you're a woman empowered student and your training partner is your oblivious husband who's never done jiu-jitsu before, just take it easy on him, okay?
Yeah, but this is for them too.
That's true. So I'm talking to all the bad guys, all the training partners. When women come to class, they train with other women and certified instructors who safely take care of them and put the right level of intensity. What I'm saying to the training partners today is this: don't mess it up. Don't try to be that guy. Don't be that guy who, when we show a technique, instead of practicing the technique we've shown, your only goal is to defeat the technique by doing something different than what we are teaching, like a new bad guy behavior, a new indicator, and now you throw the move off, and the student isn't here, and you aren't here for me to show you that your modified attack right now also has a solution and would work effectively if you grab Eve's wrist or my wrist. We would neutralize you in a second. But we can't do that because we're not there, so don't ruin it on the first day, partner.
It takes time to develop these reflexes and being solid in these techniques. So we want to allow that time to happen. We want to practice with reduced intensity, and then slowly we begin to increase intensity.
So today it's literally a matter of using another person's body to go through some motions, not a matter of let's test these techniques and see if jiu-jitsu really works today in the living room.
If you have a question about that, come find Penner when this coronavirus is over.
I accept it.
Let's do it.
We accept the Gracie challenge, you guys. But for today, it's about cooperation, collaboration, and working together to decipher. And men, you can do the moves also. Women can do it. Men can do it. It's all jiu-jitsu in the end. So let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
Women empowered.
Well, how's today going to work, right?
Great.
Let's kind of give an outline of what you're going to see today and what we expect from you. And just remember that, so we're going to go through the techniques, right? We're going to dive deep into these kind of segmented,
groups of techniques.
Groups of techniques. But we are going to go somewhat at a faster pace today.
Because we're recording it.
So we know that after this, you can
review
and watch everything all over again.
And ladies, particularly those who are active students at CTCs, remember, you get credit for all the techniques you learned during the downtime, coronavirus downtime. You get credit, and that includes today's. You get credit when you go back to class. You have to log the days you train and what moves you learned, and then we can give you credit on your Women Empowered attendance cards. And ladies who are introducing for the first time, if you find a CTC after this is all done and we clear out of this, when you go to the school, you can already have check marks on your pink attendance card, Women Empowered, towards your first strike. Even though you've never been to the school, you can start with 6 checks on your card. Through what you're learning on the weekends and through what you're learning in the Women Empowered core curriculum, which is what you should be doing Monday through Saturday. Save Sundays for us. All right, let's go. Standing up. We got Evandro back there. You guys, if you have questions during the techniques, we permit us back up there, a little easier frame. If you have questions during the course, Evandro's checking the lineup here. He's watching, he's answering, and he's going to feed them to us if they're appropriate at the right time. If you have bigger picture questions about self-defense, about Women Empowered, leave them in there, and we'll get them at the end, more philosophical, open discussion.
But we'll do a little Q&A at the end.
Just open, anything goes. But during the actual technique, if you have a question about the techniques, feel free to ask, and we'll get to them in the middle when Evandro interjects them here, so feel free to ask. We're going to start with wrist releases, you guys. Such a common threat, particularly for women, or even children in some cases, where it's like, hey, come with me, or a grab or an abduction type situation.
Yeah, and we typically kind of talk about in any kind of sexual assault or even assault or abduction scenario, and we break it down into 4 phases. Okay, phase 1 is to identify an unsuspecting target. Phase 2 is to subdue and isolate the target. Phase 3 is to control and exhaust the target, and phase 4 is to carry out whatever it is that you have planned or the assault. And we're going to hit on all 4 of these throughout all of these seminars that we're doing over the next few weeks.
So when it comes to wrist releases, the presumption is that phase 1 is gone. Identify an unsuspecting target. They've caught you off guard. They were able to, and we'll talk about that on a different day. They've encroached effectively enough, and now they're here controlling you and trying to abduct you or move you into isolation, which is a very common strategy to lower the chance of bystander intervention. So when we talk about wrist releases, there are several. These are called a standard wrist grab. This is called an inverted wrist grab. This is called one-on-one inverted, one-on-one standard, and there's also 2-on-1. So let's learn them all, and then you guys can play some games at home, and you guys can practice this. And for the rest of Corona season, you guys can just walk around the house and grab each other and test each other in the kitchen, in the house, wherever you are. It's all good. So standard one-on-one. Talk about the base here, because at first she doesn't want to go, right? Someone trying to take her. So establishing base.
His objective is to move me, is to subdue and isolate. So the first thing I do is root myself in my base. I'm leaning away from him. It's about a 45-degree angle from my head down to my foot, and I'm here.
Right? So once you establish base, you're not going anymore.
That's the first step. Don't go.
But you've got to detach yourself from the attacker's grip, and watch how he's going to do that the first time. Prying it out right there. Okay, wrist release, standard variation. Most commonly, what will they try to do? Show them what, especially those who've never seen it, rip it out.
Sure.
They'll do this. They'll pull, they'll twist, they'll rip. And guys do this too. It's not just women. Anybody who doesn't know how to escape with a la vanca will try to escape with power and speed, and a stronger person is not going to let that happen. So instead of ripping away where the grip actually gets tighter, watch what Eve's mechanical advantage is here. She comes in where the grip gets looser. So you have to go in to get out. And this is the principle of a la vanca, of leverage. We're going to use in all the wrist releases. So we're going to start with this standard one-on-one, then we'll add some other variations. You guys can practice along while you're watching here. Eve, one more time on some details there for me.
Yes, core detail is like Henner said, instead of pulling where it actually gets tighter, I'm pushing my elbow forward. I'm prying my arm out. And that requires me to get closer to Henner, right? Watch this, here.
Boom.
So I'm driving my elbow towards his. One more time, I have my base. I step closer to him if I need to.
Look at that.
And I'm driving my elbow forward,
Boom.
and I can disengage.
She has to come in, you guys. Her elbow, the way I call it when I'm teaching ladies and I'm walking around classes, I say, ladies, elbow to elbow. You've got to get your elbow to touch my elbow, or at least near it. So she shuffles in, elbow to elbow. Her elbow drags in, her hand approaches her shoulder. I have no more grabbing angle, and she's quiet herself.
Answer the phone, that's the other thing we say.
We talk about answering the phone. So that's called one-on-one standard. Watch this. If I go instead 2-on-1, try the same move. It doesn't work. So now Eve's going to establish her base the same way, but watch what she does with the other hand, you guys. Look, she pries it out. So 2-on-1, you guys can practice as well. Both hands grabbing the wrist. Bad guy, 2 hands with the thumbs right here. Eve's making a fist, and then watch, I'm going to change the angle so you can see a little bit. Watch what she does.
So I have my base first. Watch, the hand comes over the top. I grab my own fist in between his arms. Okay, grab my own fist. Now, the rest of it is exactly the same movement. Watch my elbow as it drives towards almost like his sternum here, his chest. That's how far I'm arm driving in.
Excellent.
He grabs here,
Yep.
base first, always base first, okay? Feel this, feel this. And now I reach over the top. Common mistake is to go underneath. We want to go over the top and grab. Now I know what you're going to want to do here, because it's like, you want to use this arm and you want to grab this fist and you want to think about pulling your hand out.
Violence.
Problem with that is two things. One, it may not work. But even worse than that, you might actually punch yourself in your own face, which is not what we want to accomplish now. So instead, come over the top and pry. Think about elbow to belly button.
So you guys, it's the same. One-on-one, two-on-one. It's the same alavanca, which means elbow going towards the person, which is counterintuitive because you have to come closer before you get out, which is often the case with jiu-jitsu in general, is it doesn't feel necessarily natural, but it's actually the most effective way to escape or neutralize a potential grip.
And this is the reason why no one in the history of any of our classes,
Ever.
introductions, has ever guessed this.
When I say, how would you get out? Every single time for the last 100 years of my life, and I'm not even 100 years old, but trust me, it's the same. 3 generations, and they go, oh my gosh. So something so simple, you guys, can change everything. That's called one-on-one, two-on-one. Look, 2-on-2. I'm grabbing both of her wrists. She establishes her base.
Now here's what's interesting. Once Henner grabs with 2 hands, I get to choose my base. Whereas before, if he were to grab here, I don't get to choose. Watch. Okay, I have to be same front leg as arm. But now the moment that he grabs 2 hands, I can choose this now. And I like to choose my strong side back. Let's take a look at it here.
Strong indicating by?
Strong side, meaning the side I would like to slap somebody with. Or maybe the side I hit a baseball with.
Strong
Okay,
side back.
strong side
what you
back.
would hit someone with. So I pull, she makes her base.
Here.
1, boom.
And I'm out.
Yeah, and in future classes, she's going to learn from 1, 2, boom, boom. This is followed up with a strike so that I have to defend myself, and then she can disengage because I'm not the attacker, I'm the attackee momentarily, buying her time for her escape while I can't grab her. That's called 2-on-2 standard, ladies. So we're doing this 2-on-1, 1-on-1, 2-on-2. Every grip imaginable. And this grip is very much like, hey, come here, I want to talk to you, or a dominating grip of control.
It's actually it could be used to pull too.
Yeah, could be used to pull.
Yeah, it's more likely to pull.
That's true.
Right?
So he's like, what's up? He's coming here.
And actually, it feels like the hardest because you can't get the angle of base that you would like. Like I feel stronger if I have this release. I feel stronger in my base when I can fully lean back. I have better base right now. When he grabs 2 hands, that does limit my base ability. So it's kind of like it's a little harder to get a strong base when he grabs 2 hands and he's pulling, right? So we still find our base, and now we release 1 hand at a time, 1 arm at a time. Strong side back. I'm right-handed, so my right foot is back, and now the elbow. 1,
Go to the shoulders.
2. Okay, you see the rotation of the body here.
Do it
One more
facing
time.
inwards.
Yeah, so
Base.
here, the strong side back. Look, 1, 2.
So she's turning her body with each.
The energy is coming from the ground, coming from my feet to my knees to my hips to my body here. It's not just 1, 2. It's not arm movement, right?
Right.
It's body. The whole body is between it. One more time.
Sure.
So here.
2-on-2. 1. Elbow to elbow. Every time follow the same rules, whether it's 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 2-on-2, same thing. Elbow goes in, hand comes out. But you got to lean in order to accomplish that. And each one is slightly different, but they all follow the same principle. Now what's wild is that these are all standard grips. Guess what? If we're in a fight already, or I'm approaching you and she puts her hands up to either hit me or get away, I may grab her with these grips. Look at the difference. These are called inverted. Standard, inverted. 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 2-on-1.
Standard grips are more for pulling. It's a good pulling grip. Inverted grips are more of a control grip.
Right, here's why. If I start pulling, the fact that, imagine this is a rope. As I pull and the rope straightens out, my thumb gets compromised and it pops. So this is different. When I pull here, it feels comfortable on my wrist and my thumb. When this rope gets tight, it actually hurts my thumb and it pops straight out. So as a result of that, what Eve's pointing out is I would not likely use this grip to pull someone into isolation. I would rather use this to control. If she had a pen and was trying to poke me in the eye, I would use this grip to stop her from poking me in the eye. So now I got her right here. Don't poke me in the eye. Okay, so then let's do just the standard 1-on-1 here. Let's flip this around here.
Sure.
So 1-on-1 inverted. Learn the names, ladies. We're going to pass that pink belt
And
test.
the way that you're going to remember it's inverted is put your hand up, and now the bad guy can grab with the hand already.
Just a side note throughout all this, I forgot to mention, guys, when you're the bad guy right now, every grip doesn't have to be a death grip. In real life, it will be, and over time, we will progressively increase the intensity of the grips.
I think you should.
I know. I'm saying this because I was grabbing her too tight right now,
really excited.
and I'm stoked for you guys, and I'm like, over here, she's doing it 40 times, and her wrists are going to get rubbed up and going to get bruised just from this practice. Okay, then we come out of coronavirus season and they're gonna say, hey, why is she all bruised up on the wrist? You know what I'm saying? Like we want to keep it humane.
Yeah. Well, and I always say it's up to this person to decide. Hey, grab me harder, grab a little tighter, grab a little tighter. But it's up to me as the one practicing the move. I get to choose the intensity level.
Yeah. There you go. So over time. So right now, one-on-one inverted. I'm like, hey, I grip right here.
Still always base first. So you can still give them like a little tug just to make
Base.
sure the base is there. Okay. And now look, front leg, front arm here.
Boom, and we're out.
There it is.
Inverted wrist release. Finding that leverage. Where's the alavanca? Check it out.
So we're here, strong base. But here's the key. Thumb to chest, elbow high, drive over the top.
Beautiful.
Keep eye contact. Cool.
So base is first.
So always base is first. And then here's what's interesting about this. Connection. Watch the thumb connect to my chest. Okay? Now I may not be able to pull my chest, so I might have to bring my chest to him. Now look at this connection. This is what allows me to kind of break this grip. Watch the elbow. It goes right over his forearm, and I'm driving off this front leg. I slice it off. I'm slicing it off. The point of the fulcrum there has changed. Okay, so here, thumb to chest,
That's a great
elbow
point.
high.
Yeah,
and then
this
look.
is the fulcrum now. So her lever is her arm. The back of my palm wrist area is her fulcrum as she pries out. Versus when we do fulcrum, went from here to here, switching sides on my hand because my grip went upside down. So it makes perfect sense that we find an equal opposite fulcrum for this leverage to take place. So there's that.
Yeah,
there's
most common mistake is you're going to go here, elbow high, and then the fist's going to leave your chest. And now your arm feels compromised and you weren't able to escape. So this connection is everything. Connecting the hand, fist to the chest here. Keep this here. And now I drive off my front foot, my knee, my hip, my shoulders,
elbow
everything
has
drives
to go
over
over.
the top.
Do that by yourself one time. I want you to just do the line
So
of the
here, elbow high.
The key is to watch the line. If this elbow made it like a line, ladies and gentlemen, watch how she pivots her foot and she rotates straight across and around. Off my wrist, beautiful downward spiral on that line. So make sure you guys find that. That's called one-on-one. When we're the next one, check it out. She shuffles in, elbow up, big rotation, and she's out. Turn that full body and show them how they often dive down too low.
Yeah. So you might be so committed to this escape that my elbow comes up, and now you almost over focus on that rotation. I've given my back to him. I've lost my balance. So notice that even though the rotation is strong, I still keep my base here, and I keep my focus on
Tight.
him.
She's
So I'm
tight,
back here,
and she
and
comes
I'm
back.
right back around.
Can you see our feet or no?
Can I what? Yes.
Okay, so the most important thing I want you guys to focus on, everyone's looking up top, make your base knee fist to chest. I want you to focus on her foot relative to mine with the elbow up, and watch when she pivots this, she takes her heel off the ground, her toe, she pivots on the ball of her toe right there, turn, that, stay there, look, just pivot, turn, this is how you know that your knee rotated effectively, which means your hip turned effectively, which means your elbow made it far enough in that rotation. So it's very important, ladies, that you release your heel off the ground during that rotation to get that maximum pivot. Let's 2-on-1. So if 2-on-1 standard requires backup from the other hand, look, she comes in, grab and pry, then guess what? 1-on-1 inverted, 2-on-1 inverted, she's going to do the same thing. She's going to grab her own fist, glue it to her chest, everything's the same. Elbow's going to peek out, and then watch the rotation. Boom! Nothing's going to change compared to the first one. So fist to chest.
Fist to chest. The only purpose of this hand is to connect the fist to my chest here. Elbow high, right over his forearm, not too high. Okay, just right over, and now I'm slicing right over.
Beautiful.
Facing again. Cool. And here's the thing, with any of these 2-on-1s, using this backhand, they could potentially be used, even if it's a one-handed that feels too much like
it's very strong. You can't get your hand in your chest.
Right? So you might need backup. You might need support if the dynamic of how big or how strong they are in relationship to this to where I'm at. So here, connecting.
Even if I go 1-on-1, elbow up.
I can use this other hand for
The same way, if I grab this and she doesn't feel she's capable, she can go 2-on-2. She can use backup there as well. But it's nice to be able to learn how to escape all these single-handed wrist grabs without two hands. It should be practiced. Some of you are like, why? Why would you ever, use a handgun if you could use a shotgun every single time? We'll always bring the shotgun. No, because sometimes if I grab 2-on-2, Eve cannot use her other hand to get out because I'm controlling both of her wrists. So in a 2-on-2, she has no choice but to release each grip independently, which is why practicing 1-on-1 independently is highly worthwhile because she can pry herself out of here effectively. Boom.
Yeah, not to mention it's just great to not need this other back. It does delay it a little bit. Your hand could be busy, it could be holding something or someone, and you want to be able to.
Last wrist release for today, 2-on-2 inverted. Boom, what's up?
Yeah.
So they got you, same we just talked about.
Let's
So Just like 2-on-2 standard, inverted, you have to escape each wrist one at a time, so you can put all your focus and leverage into it, and then make your escape. So check it out.
Yeah, let's switch sides so I can see you this way, because I'm going to go with my strong side back again. Here.
Beautiful.
Here. So release one at a time, similar to the standard two. So here I bring my fist to my chest, elbow high, I drive, come over the top, now I bring my other hand to the chest. And it basically becomes a one-on-one.
One at a time, ladies. That's the key to this.
Now, one thing to really think about here is that if you think about releasing both of them at the same time, or even bringing both hands to the chest, it becomes very congested here. So it's very hard for me to get my elbow over. So especially this first release, you want to think about almost like framing on their body and creating space. You want to tighten the rope, right? This being the rope, you want to tighten it. And you do that by kind of creating space here. Elbow comes up, and now my elbow, I want it to like reach in, I want it to follow this. I want it to go in between.
You want to go over and through.
So the more space I create for that elbow to go, the better off I am here. And now look, I might feel like my base is a little compromised here. So guess what? I move, right? And I can adjust to the angle I feel like I need to get the other.
That's a great detail. Base is not a fixed position. Don't think of base like the foundation of a house where it's stuck and it doesn't move. Base is dynamic. Right? Like it's something that is stable when it's unstable. When it needs to move, it moves, but it finds stability again in a new position. So Eve's always moving throughout all this. Even though she's solid, she's dynamic, she's adaptive in the situation.
So let's try it one more time. So we're here. Look, strong side back. Again, I'm right-handed. So I want my right hand back. The other one is creating space. And now that elbow comes up over the forearm and in between. And now look, I can adjust my base if I need to. Now the other fist comes to the chest. And here, I guarantee you if you're having trouble with this, one of two things are happening. Either your fist is leaving your chest, and you're doing this, and you're like,
fist is leaving your chest.
I can't get my elbow over. The fist is leaving your chest. Keep this connection here. So it's the elbow that's moving, right? Your whole body.
And that elbow can only move if her rotation of her foot, like I showed you, her hip, her shoulders, she facilitates that mobility with her lower body.
The other reason might be because your bad guy is almost too floppy.
Yeah, loosey goose. Here, let's do
it
on this one slow. They can hear.
I do this, and I go over the top, and I'm like,
and I still got her wrist, and my whole body turned, so it's not. So the alavanca, the fulcrum was not compromisable because I turned, eliminating that fulcrum.
Now I can still pop out of that, right?
But how realistic is that? That the bad guy grabs someone by the wrist, fist to chest. The second you go, they go like this. What are we doing here? If they do, she can still just pop her hand out.
So sometimes we think we're being good bad guys by being kind of like loose.
That's crazy. So in the first time we said don't be too hard. Now we're saying don't be too soft. So what is a good bad guy? Right? Someone who's just a human. Behuman.com. Okay?
So so here, so just make sure that, because the truth is it's actually easier to break a grip if there's some tension in it.
Yeah.
We need tension in the rope.
Analogy, it's easier to cut a rope that is taut. With a knife?
The nice rope that
doesn't cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tighten the rope.
Pull the chest.
So should we do a review?
We should do a little. We should show them how they can box both you and I. So this is what happens once you know 6. You can have some fun. So Eve is standing here. I got her by the wrist. Always little base check. And here's my recommendation, ladies. Do not respond for the first 1,000, 2 1,000. Use that for base. Maybe even 3 1,000. Use it for base and then for indicator recognition. Identify what the indicator is. Don't try to be quick and mess up. Go slow and get right.
If you've seen this move a few times, then even articulate which one it is.
Ooh, right? Names.
Especially those of you who are prepping for your pink belt test, very helpful.
Love that. So we've seen 6. 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 2-on-2. Standard, inverted. There's one more, number 7, but we're not going to teach it to you, ladies, because then why would those new friends of ours ever come to class at a CTC? We got to save some gold nuggets.
Save some.
Either you learn it at a CTC or you log online and you watch Women in Power. But let's play the game. So I grab here, and you can do both sides. She makes her base. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
1-on-1.
She recognized that one.
And always disengaging. Okay? Always. The moment we're out, we move back.
You're going to be tested on that in your pink belt test. If you escape a wrist release and just look at me like this, minus 1 point. Okay, 2-on-2.
2-on-2 standard. 2-on-1 standard.
And I'm being a little aggressive. My bad. Base. I'm trying to check her base. Yeah. Base first. 2-on-2 inverted. She called it. Boom. How about?
Look how I'm switching my base. Always this, whichever arm he grabs, that's the same leg that's going to be in front.
Boom. Boom. Gotcha. And I'm trying to hit all 6. I forget which ones I already did.
2-on-1.
Ooh, my turn. Now, once we do it, guys, you got to do it also. We should all speak the same language.
Sure.
Go ahead. Base. Standard one-on-one. Shuffle in, elbow in, and we're out. Inverted one-on-one. Yes. So when you shuffle in, if Eve is bladed stance, and I'm going to move closer to her to get my fist to my chest, I always like to step outside of her foot instead of in front of her foot where I'm more trippable. And then from here. So our base, look, shuffle in, fist to chest, rotate, keep your eyes on the target, and step out. Other one. Standard 2-on-2. Base, elbow forward, and disengage, and we're out.
Talk about crossroads.
Yeah. They deserve it. They've been very nice to us so far.
You might be asking
they've been nice. Okay, ladies, especially those who already train at a certified training center, cross grips are a regular question. It's something that is very easy to address once you understand the mechanics, the alavanca in every wrist release. It's very easy to address. What a cross grip is, instead of me grabbing Eve's arm on the same side, it's grabbing same type of grip, but cross grip. Okay, so in cross.
So this is still a standard one-on-one. The only difference is now he's grabbing across my body. It's a cross grip.
Yeah, same exact thing. There's your fulcrum, and watch her go elbow to elbow one way or the other. As long as.
So I still have my base, and the escape is the same.
100%.
Okay?
Other side.
Here.
Beautiful.
Now there's one thing to keep in consideration here, is which direction my thumb goes.
Yes. Look.
Okay. So I want my thumb to go towards the side of his thumb.
Thumb to thumb.
Okay, and let me just show you if I don't go on the side of the thumb, what that looks like. If my thumb comes around towards the fingers, I end up here.
No fulcrum. She literally lost the fulcrum. When she goes thumb to thumb, she ensures that the fulcrum is right on the web here and it pops right out.
And that just means that depending on how he grabs you, like maybe the angle's a little, like you almost
Yeah,
have to find,
yeah.
you kind of have to find
That was
the
good.
angle.
That was good. That was really good. So I was
You
here.
have to twist
She
within their
found the
grip
thumb.
here.
Boom. That was really good. So that's part of the reason why we don't teach the cross grip just early on when you're first learning, because it's so easy for the bad guy to grab and then for you to do the move and it not work. You end up on. That's exactly why it's a little more advanced. But for those who've done this before, just make sure your thumb finds my thumb, and then you can pry yourself out from down low. Okay, cross grip. I'm very happy. Listen, you watch it back, play it again, and just do this around the house.
If you want to get take it one more level, when more notch up, just close your eyes. Okay?
What?
Yeah, just close your eyes and just have your partner just grab one of those sticks. You don't know what order, and you can feel it. And that's actually the next level of learning is instead of thinking about it so much, you just feel it. And
interesting.
Surprisingly,
So is it possible that you can actually see better with your eyes closed?
And you can feel where is the leverage, like where is the escape, and sometimes feeling it is better than looking at it and overanalyzing it. So try that if you guys feel.
Not to mention, raise your hand if you carry pepper spray. Thank you. All you guys raise your hands. Not that you need to, but some of you do. If you have pepper spray, this happens to law enforcement all the time. You use pepper spray, you get what's called the blowback, where you now are vision impaired from your own pepper spray. Unless the attacker's walking around with his own pepper spray. But you're now vision impaired with your own pepper spray. You can't see. Someone grabs you. Every technique in jiu-jitsu should be doable with your eyes closed. So practicing wrist releases in the kitchen.
It could be dark. There's other
could be dark, could be in a club, could be in an alley, could be any situation. But and not to mention, you just get more sensitive to the touch and the mechanics of the move, so that when you have your eyes open and good vision, you're even more effective. I think wrist releases are dope. Friends, in the kitchen, in the room, in the living room, when you walk by, everyone has my permission to grab anyone by the wrist in the household during coronavirus season.
They just need your permission too.
That's true. Just make sure that your family agrees with my permission. All right, let's go down, Emmanuel. Come on. Any wrist release questions you want to get to, or are we good to go?
Good to go.
Okay, love it. Let's talk about the ground, and I think we lay down with a little bit of
going back to those 4 phases. So remember, we said to identify an unsuspecting target. We're going to talk about that on another day. Phase 2, subdue and isolate the target, which is what we just addressed, where someone grabs you by the wrist or might try to isolate you or drag you somewhere. And then phase 3, pull and exhaust, once they've got the target to the ground or to a surface, and that's what we're about to see a little bit of.
Yeah, so we want to talk about ground escapes. There are many. We have different positions, right? Let's show some of the positions just so they have some reference.
Sure.
So from our newer friends, when a fight goes to the ground, which it often does, this is between man and woman, woman and woman, man and man. So we talk about sexual assault as the primary frame for our discussions in this course. But let me be very clear. We teach this exact same set of techniques to men who just want to learn how to defend themselves and their families, and it has nothing to do with, a sexual assault. So this is it's a fighting concept, not a sexual assault concept. So just to give you guys some positional reference, this is called the mount. My knees are both over Eve's body on either side of her hips. I am mounted on Eve. It's a position of control because my legs are around her body. I have the advantage. Not to mention, I can strike, but she can't strike back. Okay? Side mount is when I'm on her body like this. I'm not over her body, but I'm adjacent to her, and I can reach her face. I can be laying on her, or I can sit up. Both of my knees are on one side, and I'm attacking from here. Another position of dominance, of control, not quite as bad as the full mount. Side mount is a little less dangerous for Eve, but like only by points. Like if mount is level 10, then this is like a level 8 danger for her. Okay? And then we go to the guard, where if I'm inside Eve's legs, now I would say the danger goes way down. Not only does it go way down for the danger potential to Eve, I'm talking like 1 and 2, but more importantly, the opportunities for Eve go through the roof in terms of what she can do. The reason is because her legs are now around my hips, which gives her the position of advantage. So
and that danger goes down only if you know what to do for this.
There you go. If she doesn't know, great point.
If she doesn't know, this is basically the same as the mount.
It's like, yeah, I would say a little bit less, but like, let's say 6 or 7. It's still very dangerous because her legs are kind of in between me, but I can still hit her. Boom, boom. So you need to learn jiu-jitsu from here. Over our weekend seminar series, we are going to cover many options from here. But today, we want to start with the worst case scenario, which is the attacker is mounted on you, and many of the possibilities that can happen from here, okay, from this position. We're going to talk about a few today. One is them grabbing you by the chest or throat. One is them punching you from here and trying to knock you out, right? And there's many other options. One is them pinning you by the wrist, and there are others, and we'll see what we have time for, okay? So start with the person on top who's either grabbing your chest or throat, strangling you or pinning you to the ground. Very common situation. We start with the standard trap and roll, okay?
Yeah,
So check it
the
out.
question is, what would somebody do from here, right?
Normally.
What's the most, the one would be to try to get the hands off. Maybe
And you
even
may,
the
and you
hips.
may, but I'm still here.
Then try to push, bench press.
This is normal. I experience this every single day of my life when we're not Corona season, is people trying to get out wildly with no technique. And they burn energy and they don't escape. So the question is, how can we do this in a more methodology sound? Methodological?
I love the words that are made
Methodical. Methodical. Ivandra, you gotta help me with my English, bro. Methodical.
Methodical.
Gosh, it's too much quarantine, you guys. Like normal jiu-jitsu, I have pretty decent English vocabulary.
We don't get out much now.
Now it's like speaking to kids, you forget. So look, trap and roll, standard variation, hands on the chest or throat. Bad guy. For this one, we're gonna have one on the throat, one on the ground. But let's watch what Eve does first. Trap and roll. Boom. And here, boom, boom, and she's up and she's out. Excellent. Let's talk. Check it out.
All right, so starting from the mount, his knees are over my hips here. One hand is on the throat. Could be 2, but for practice purposes, he's going to have one hand on my throat, the other on the ground. And now I trap his wrist, control his, and now watch below, I trap his foot. I'm trapping one side of his body. As my hips go up and I bridge, he falls over. And then I'm on top of the fight. And for now, for practice purposes, we'll just put both hands on their hips and stand up how? In base.
Beautiful.
Okay, like you're on a surfboard. Strong side back, and we're up. Okay, let's look at that again in more detail. Maybe we should turn this way, actually.
A little bit. Yeah, you can feel it.
All right, so we've got one hand on
Bad guy. One on the throat, one on the ground. No pressure.
Here, no pressure. So the hand would come underneath, and I secure his wrist. Look at this grip. It's called a monkey grip, a thumbless grip, okay? As opposed to a C grip where his hand can kind of slide out the side. So I want to grab here with no thumb, or basically the thumb is connected to my fingers here. And now watch, elbow down.
Critical.
And everyone in this position, feel this, like test it out a little bit. This is to prevent Henner from doing that. So bad guy, try to put your hand out there.
There's no way.
And if it happens, it means that A, this person's not keeping it real, or maybe that your elbow is not down, pinned to your rib cage here. So
right.
Pin this down. Now watch, the other hand is turned around like you're holding your phone, and it's on the back of their elbow or tricep. Okay, and this is to prevent Henner from pulling out the back. So we're here. And now we trap the foot. Look, same side, I trap the foot, and I'm just holding his foot in place. If I didn't do this, as I bridge, he could post his foot out. Okay, so we're posting this here. One side is trapped. Bad guy can test a little bit, like just
check that. She got
check,
super
check.
tight, glued to her body. Top guy, make sure you tuck your shoulder as you roll here. Watch as Eve bridges. I'm going to take my shoulder. I'm going to lay low so that I do not impact the ground too aggressively, and then she ends up on top.
Now 2 hands on the hips. Right, on the hip bone here, strong side back, and we're up.
Excellent.
Okay. One more thing to talk about in terms of our legs as we go. Actually, we'll look at this way. So look, monkey grip, C grip, trap through your foot.
Can you take back one step?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, block your arms, please.
Yeah.
If they're having trouble hooking the leg, she'll
Oh,
probably
yeah.
use your elbow.
Mhm.
Look, watch what she does with her elbow.
If I can't hook the leg, it's because his knee is too high in my armpit. So watch. I use the elbow, block the knee, and I can either push his knee down or walk my body up to make it so this trap is more accessible. Now, one of the things to think about here is this foot. What is this leg doing? Right? This is our poster, and this is what we're bridging off of. I don't want this foot to be on the outside. I don't want to trap both of his legs. If I do, when I bridge, his leg hooks onto mine. So look, I want to unhook this leg. I want to bring it as close to my hips as possible. And now watch the bridge. Here. And now we're here. Okay? And we can disengage there.
Standard trap and roll. Excellent. You can do both sides on that one, you guys. Very effective technique. The only thing worse than that, someone strangling you from the mount, is if they mount on top of you, and now they want to punch you in the face. And Eve's attempt to grab my wrist, boom, punch, boom, punch, boom, punch. Every time she grabs and misses, she's getting punched by the other hand. Very dangerous. So this brings us to the most important principle of jiu-jitsu, which is whoever manages the distance manages the damage that can be done. So as I mount on Eve, she's going to instantly change the distance between us, thereby essentially eliminating the effectiveness of my punches because she's going to be so close. So watch what she does. Boom. Now my hands have to post out for balance. Watch what she does. Trap that arm, trap one foot, and then up we go. Boom. Trap and roll, and we're out of here. Okay, let's go back. So punch block variation, very important. As soon as I mount, watch what she does. Boom. How many punches should she wait for?
3?
0.
None.
So right when I mount, she
Now,
closes
this
the
is the
distance.
default. If someone is on top of us, we want to close the distance right away. We don't want to wait and say, hey, are they going to choke us? Are they going to pin our wrist? No, right away we start and hug. My
Decide.
head is driving into his chest here. And I'm using my arms, and I'm just kind of grabbing here. Now, if you can't get this grip where I'm grabbing my own wrist, you can do an S grip here, or you can just grab onto anything to keep yourself close. My head is driving into his body.
If they sit up,
right?
I'll try to make me put my hands on the ground.
I push off my feet and I drive him back down.
Look at that, so annoying.
The goal for me is to keep his hands busy so that his hands are not punching my face.
Very
They
good.
have to be protecting him from going face first into the mat.
I will face plant if I don't catch myself. And once I stabilize for a moment, I'm going to stay right here, bad guys. Just kind of stay on your knees propped up in your hands. And then it's Eve's job now to what we call climb the tree. So little by little, she'll ratchet north. Go again. Show them how you do that and how your butt leaves the ground while you use both feet. Watch
So
what she does.
based on the hook, you can kind of ratchet up the body, right? Or you can grab the shoulders if you need. But for me and our body positioning here, ratcheting feels better. So look, as I kind of raise my arms, I push off my feet and my hips lift up. And now look, I can come a little higher. See how my head is poking out over his shoulder? That's what we want. I want to be able to see over this arm if possible. Now I do a big, deep hug on this back. Why? Keeping myself close. Now watch what this arm does. It comes in, around over the top, and now I want to trap right on the elbow here. Okay, so now I've trapped his arm. Okay, I'm going to trap his foot. And now a very important safety tip right now. Because we love our bad guys, right, who we're practicing with right now, and our partners, we want to take care of them. If I roll right now over this, this will hurt Henner's fingers very badly. So we want to make sure that Henner flattens his hand, tucks it underneath my shoulder here.
Turn and tuck.
Turn and tuck. Okay, now I can control the arm. I've got the foot trapped, and watch this arm here. Okay, I'm like kind of driving underneath the armpit, and I'm reaching at like 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock if my head is 12 o'clock here. And I'm reaching and bridging.
The bridge.
And I'm over the top.
80% from the bridge, 20% from the reach. So let them have it.
From here. And if you want to get a little crazy with it, you can practice strikes from here. So look, I'm blocking the back of his triceps. I'm low. My head is right over his belly button. I still have my base with my legs here. And I'm just kind of blocking and controlling punches here. Now if I want, I can keep one arm connected, and I can do an elbow strike. So I bring my thumb to my chest, I rotate my arm over, and the elbow comes straight down over the top. Okay, you can do that as many times as you need, maybe even straight down here. Both hands on the hips, and we're up.
Show them the common mistake. I'm going to get up here. We see this often, even in class, we see a lot of ladies put the hands here, keep their toes stationary, and push back. Go again. Don't do that, ladies. Put all the weight here, jump up, your feet should leave the ground, and then 1 foot forward, 1 foot back.
It happens for 2 reasons. One, they kind of feel bad putting all their weight on their partner, right? But if you find your hip bone, hips are very strong, right? They like babies come out of here. Like these are strong bones here.
Babies come out of here.
Not his. Yeah, but so hands on the hips, and then strong side back.
Boom.
Okay, so like almost like you're on a surfboard, and your hands are putting in place, and then you're here, right? So you're holding your own body weight, so that you're not reliant my hands are still heavy on his, and he moves them, I fall back down. Cool. See it again?
Yeah, last one on the punch block.
Let's do it this way.
Great idea.
Here.
So listen, friends, when we practice this is how we do it. We start from a lateral position here. We enter into the mount. The second I enter the mount, there's no on your mark, get set, go. That is the go. So Eve learns that reflex of immediately hugging and closing the distance. This is counterintuitive. If you've never done jiu-jitsu, you feel like, wow, just hugging the guy brand new, he mounts on me, oh my God, I just grab this person I don't know? Yes.
Absolutely.
It's very simple, you guys.
This is what jiu-jitsu is.
This is survival.
It's the opposite of what you might think to do in that situation, and that's actually why it works.
There's only two distances in jiu-jitsu, you guys. All the way out or all the way in. If you're in the middle zone, you're strikeable. So standing up, the goal is all the way out is much more possible in general when you're standing, because you can exit on your feet. Once the fight happens and we begin in a close confined situation, chances are it's going to be a lot of all the way in. Now there are going to be moments in the closeness of separation and then closeness again, which we'll talk about in the weeks to come. But generally speaking, you're going to be all the way in a lot of times to manage the punches, because punches are a function of how many joints I'm able to use in the punch. If I were to punch Eve right now, I would be able to dive in with my hips, my shoulders, my elbow, and my wrist. Boom! And put a lot of power and gravity into it. But the second she mounts on me and hugs me, look, all there is elbow joint and wrist joint. Boom, boom, boom. That's an arm punch. Arm punches have no power behind them. They're annoying, but there's no power. So there's no knockout. So that's accomplished because she's so close. She eliminated my other joints and body and gravity in that strike. It's purely an arm punch, which is exactly what we're trying to do.
So let's show this again. So if you're off, right? So the moment that your partner mounts, you want to practice sitting up. Now, there are situations where that sit-up does not feel possible, right? So maybe you mount and you're kind of standing up so high, that it's like hard for me to reach and grab him, okay? If that's the case, whatever the situation might be, look, I protect, I block, and I bump my hips.
Oh no!
I bring him down to me, then I can sit up and hug. And I'm driving my head into his chest, and you guys, this is connected. Even if there's a little space in between us, he can use that space and create distance.
No leaks, no
leaks here.
Tight.
Head is driving in, okay? And now right away, if he sits up,
The first priority
pull
is
him back down.
make sure you guys practice that. Make sure you guys actually do this. Sit up.
Try to sit up and try to pull him back
And
down.
Eve's not breaking my back right here. She's only pulling me down enough. Because here's the deal. I go, because my knees are parallel, my knees are in a line here. There is no balance for me over there. So if someone were to push me with 3 pounds of pressure, I would fall. So it doesn't require that much ripping for Eve to make me fall forward. So be considerate of your partner's lower back and torso when you're pulling down, not to be jamming so hard that it hurts their back every time you practice. So Eve sits up. Let's see how little you can pull to make me fall. Go. Look, that's all it takes. If I sit up, that was like 2-3 pounds. Now she's gonna, when I settle, she'll climb the tree a little bit.
The tree, look, pushing off the feet, ratchet up, come here, my head's poking up over the shoulder, deep wrap with the hug, okay? Keeping close, and now watch this arm. It tucks in, and it comes over the top. You wanna break right at the elbow, here, break it down. And now what's the safety tip? Make sure you do not let your partner not tuck their finger, okay? So turn and tuck, and now we're here. And now we've got what? To trap the foot.
Do not trap the other leg.
Yeah, if you end up here, they're gonna hook on again. So untrap, and bring us as close to your hips as possible, okay? Close to your hips as possible. Now, some of you felt this last time. If you don't do this underhook, and you're wrapping deep, as I bridge, watch what happens in this arm. Kind of get stuck underneath them. That's the importance. The second kind of part of that reach that we're doing, that 2 o'clock reach, is that your arm will be clear when you land, right? It won't get stuck, and it also helps them kind of go off balance. Now that we're here, look, I swim inside. My hands are grabbing the back of their triceps, my elbows are flared out, and I'm just following his energy here to make sure that he can't touch my face.
Very
right?
nice. Elbow forearms are blocking
Not
my...
using a lot of energy. That's the goal, is to conserve energy but still stay safe. And I'm low, my head's over his belly button. And then when I feel him kind of relax or give up, that's the moment where I control one side. I use my strong side, thumb to chest, elbow high, and look, rotate over. I don't want to strike the soft kind of part, the funny bone here. I want to rotate and use the sharpest of my elbow over the top here. And now we're up at base.
Excellent.
All right.
So now let's do wrist pin. Check this out, you guys. It gets worse. Actually, it seems worse, but it's not worse.
It's not actually worse.
Let's do it. Lay down, please.
Actually not.
Big brother pin. Eve has a big brother.
I have a little brother, actually. But he learned jiu-jitsu at a young age.
And he's bigger than you.
Yeah, but he's still my little brother.
Wrist pins. Look, you grab someone's wrist, they pin it down. What's the problem with this? Eve cannot grab my wrist. Eve cannot hug my torso.
Sit up and hug. and I can't control his arm.
But we have to acknowledge one more problem. I also can't punch her.
That's why we said it's not actually worse, right? Because his hands are, even though I don't like what his hands are doing, which is controlling me, his hands are technically, they're not choking me, and they're not punching me, which means I can survive this position, even if I didn't know anything.
That's true.
And I just waited until he did that, and I sat up and hugged.
There you go. So
Okay,
do nothing could be the answer here. However, if you gotta go, you gotta get to class, gotta get home from the webinar Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, and you can't be hanging around with people pinning your wrist out there.
Let's go.
With, you know. So she holds this, and instead of flailing, most people would just flail wildly here, try to kick out, and I just follow. I've seen it a million times. Instead, she doesn't go high. Instead, she goes low, wide. And then she's back into.
And you've seen the rest of this. Look,
Everything's
deep
the
hug,
same.
trap the arm,
Boom.
trap the leg, and we roll them off. Here.
Boom.
Okay, let's go back. So, I don't want you guys to practice this one yet. Okay, normally we say practice along.
Don't jump in. Pay attention. Stay down. Listen up.
Yeah, listen up first. Okay, because there's some serious safety.
Especially guys, you're about to get your face slammed on the ground, so listen to the safety tips.
Very important safety tips before you guys try this. Okay. Now here's what's happening. Okay, as I bump Henner's hips, watch my arms where they end up. Here. Do you see why Henner is forced to let go in order to protect himself from face planting into the mat? So even one time without you touching, or maybe without you on me, just so they can see, my hips are going up and my hands look elbows down and the hands go down. This is the final position. Imagine if his hands stayed stuck to my wrists, where he would be right now. Face here, hips up, okay? Just like eating it. So it's very important, now you can mount again. We're here. It's very important that Henner is ready as the bad guy right now to post his hands out once he feels his balance is being lost.
It comes on quickly and I fall faster than I expect. So what Eva's saying is I shouldn't grab the wrist until I'm ready for the move to take place and I'm ready to catch myself. Guys, if you've never done this move or you never had this move done on you, it's going to suck if you don't listen to what I'm telling you right now.
Yes,
so,
partners. Whoever's doing this, just make sure you're ready to let go.
And Eve should check with me before she goes.
Yes, it's like look in the eyes. Are you ready? Ready for takeoff.
Yes.
3,
So
2, 1.
okay, and then at that point, as she begins to bridge, she's going to bridge.
So I bridge first.
1 millisecond before the hand throw is the bridge. One, boom.
Bridge first, and then as his body, the angle of his body kind of comes here, that's when the hand loosen up.
Boom! I'm going to catch myself.
Okay, driving, and this arm, think of it elbows first.
Because it's much stronger lats, yeah.
As opposed to triceps, right? So think elbows, and then hands last. But it's almost like I want to bring my hands into my back pocket. That's what I want to do here.
So hips first, hands second.
Hips first,
guys,
hands second.
catch yourselves. Hips high, hands low. Catch.
Another super important safety tip. Look at my head. Do you see how I turned my head?
Because he may.
Even though we told you guys 5 times to let go, it still happens, and it's okay. It catches us by surprise.
And in real life.
And in real life, they are going to eat it right on your face. So if you're looking at them, this will be super painful. But if we turn our head, no problem. It's just our skull.
Boom.
Right? Our skull, which is very strong and sturdy. So all 3 things are happening at the same time for me. Hips up, hands down, head turns.
All H's, which technically are R's if you count Portuguese.
Rips up.
Hips, hands, and head.
Hands and head.
I love that. We never realized that before.
I know.
I
love it when we discover these things.
If we had 3 new sons, we can call them hips, hands, and head. And spell them with R's.
Somebody else.
Here we go.
So hips, hands, head.
Boom!
Second hug.
Boom, as I
Now
come
we're
back
to where we were before.
Everything's the same.
Controlled, making sure their hands.
Safety tip, watch her head come north, going to crack you in the chin right here, guys. So look to the side the way I'm doing right now, so you don't get
Deep
uppercut.
hug here, watch this arm, it comes under. Don't think you can grab it from, not as strong. Bring over the top and really aim for the elbow. That's the part where the arm bends, right? And just kind
Should
of
we show
bend
them
it
the
down.
Hedon detail? Can we show them the Hedon super special on that? Remember that?
Yes, we
Remember the super,
yeah.
So ladies, since we know we have some viewers right now who are just pink belt plus, we know who you guys are, and or who are right about preparing for your pink belt test, this detail is for you guys. If you're just joining us today for the first jiu-jitsu journey, or you're strike 1 or brand new, this detail right here, just, appreciate it, but let it go. Everyone else, pink belt plus and pink belt prep course group, listen up. This is a Hedon detail. Hedon's my brother, okay, from the same mother. So come down a little bit lower. Look, boom, boom, boom. She hugs. She drives north. She climbs up. When she wraps the arm, the guy's arm is too strong. You can't break it down. So instead of rolling me, she's going to lift her hips and drive north. Boom, we're going to fall on that arm, and then you're going to go. I'm not going to do it again because I don't feel like it. Because it sucks for me. When she plows over that arm, I face plant.
Yeah,
and
this is also where you have to be really careful about how your hands position.
Boom.
If your hand is out, it's going to hurt when you do this. So really make sure that bad guy, you want to try this move, that arm is tucked under. So as you go, the hand is safely positioned. Yeah.
but the point is, when I posted, she couldn't break it. Instead of breaking it, she drove, lifted her hips off the ground and drove past.
The angle of the arm.
You totally plow over it, so then it collapses, and then in a separate, completely motion, once we've all collapsed and the arm is broken down, then you bridge and roll. Yeah. Watch it again in slow-mo.
And we do have other techniques if you can't break that arm down, right? We're not going to be able to get to them today, but there's a lot of options, even if that arm is too strong. But the default is what for this escape? Close the distance, right?
I love that.
Close the distance. Stay
so let's show them the drill they can do with that, like the reflex. Let me drill with these 3 trap and rolls before we wrap it up. So here's how the drill would work. I would mount, and I as the attacker have the choice to how I initiate my grip on her. If I don't grab Eve in any unique manner, she's going to do what? When in doubt, hug it out. She's coming up to hug, for sure. So if I don't want to get hugged, I have to do this. I grab here first, and then I go into the mount. Now she doesn't have a choice but to do the move.
I'm still going to ask her. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Boom. Boom, and she climbs the tree. Okay, let's go back. That's one option when I mount. The other option when I mount, if I don't want to get hugged, I better do this. Try to hug me. She can't. She switches. Wrist trap and roll. Tuck my shoulder for the roll.
And look at this, guys. If you've done this a few times and you've got your trap and roll,
3 strikes.
right? Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4.
1.
Okay, just one move. Let's make all 4 things happen at once. 1.
Boom.
And then 2.
I love it.
There we go.
Love it. Okay, that's 2. Or if I just mount generic and I just go here and I don't grab anything, she's going to hug my body and then climb the tree and over. So the point is, these are all interconnected, ladies. We can do all these together, and let's have a little drill where you guys mount on each other. And man, you can lay down, ladies, you can mount as well, right? If it works out, you guys can go through the motion, and just always be very considerate where you're rolling. Make sure you either have soft carpet or a beautiful Gracie Garage home crafting mat that we're using right here. We're just using 1. We don't even need 2 for basic drilling like this. You might step off here and there, but that's totally acceptable.
And just make sure you let go. Right?
So you guys, this is only out of how many trap and rolls in wind powered?
6. No,
6.
5.
5 trap and rolls and then elbow 6.
Yes.
So there's 5 trap and rolls. We're not going to cover the other 2 right now because it's too much. You need to practice these ones right here. You're going to be dialed in.
These are probably the most kind of likely ones, you know. These are, and I think they're the scariest.
These are the most likely. These are the scariest. So if you're just starting with us, you love these. If you've already been training, you've got some details here that you need to work on, and just put in the repetition and just got to practice. So what we'll do now is we have some giveaways we're going to do. We have some questions we're going to answer, and then I want to talk about any questions about it. You can let us know. If not, we have some concepts we want to discuss. So if you guys have any questions, shoot them in now. And we want to discuss a few principles, some of the more philosophy, women-empowered self-defense concepts. We'll talk about phase 1, kind of awareness.
Actually, let's
recap that. But before we do, I'd like to let them enter to win.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so while we're doing the talk, we do the entry. Ladies, some of you own it, some of you don't. Our women-empowered awesome shirt that Eve designed.
Actually, Victoria designed that.
Victoria designed, with Neil's help, right?
No, Victoria designed that.
She drew this?
Yeah.
What?
No, she didn't. Well,
Neil?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Victoria designed that.
Awesome design. Congratulations, Victoria. We love this Women Empowered t-shirt or tank top. And we're going to send you yours, and whoever wins right now is going to have theirs autographed. We're just doing the autograph thing because we have time to autograph things, and we'll personalize it to you, and we'll sign it wherever you want. Maybe on the back shoulder right here. Eve and I will autograph it, and we'll shoot it your way. To enter to win, we want to know your CTC and how long you've been doing the Women Empowered program. So all you need to know is the CTC location, where in the world you train, how long you've been doing Women Empowered. You can put it in stripes. You can say 3 stripes, CTC in Louisville, Kentucky. You can put time, you can put month, you can put stripes, you can put pink belt out of so-and-so location, whatever it is. We know what stripes mean. And for those who don't know, stripes, the way they're tracked is every 50. Anyways, put your name and put your experience in there. You're going to enter to win. Only enter once. Don't try to flood it right there. Just go basic. We're going to choose someone, and we're going to identify that person in a few minutes. So start flooding it under right now with inquiries and experience and locations. Regarding, I want to just mention for our newer students right now who are just embarking on the journey with us, if this is your first time doing jiu-jitsu, the way it works is, at class, every student has a card, and on the card we track every class they learn, every technique. And then we also have a stripe column where we track your progress towards your belt promotion. And stripes are issued approximately every 15 classes. So after this is all done, everyone who's training from home, when we open up the CTCs again, you're going to have a chance to go in and demonstrate, this is for students and for new students, the techniques that you're learning online when you show up. We're going to have what's called verification seminars. You come in, you demonstrate in front of an instructor, and for the techniques that you demonstrate correctly, you get credit on your Women Empowered card towards. So you can come out of this thing with 5 or 10 class credits towards your 15 classes, which would be your first strike. Even if you've never trained with us, we're going to extend that to you if you're a friend or family member in the same household of an existing student at that CTC. This is not for the world, this is just for people who are watching right now, students and family members.
Yeah, and the entire curriculum is available at graceuniverse.com. So we just kind of dabbled today in a few, but everything you saw today is all there, right?
In order. Boom, 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 boom.
Women Empowered, it's called Women Empowered 2.0 is
So
there.
whether you're an existing CTC student or not, you should be, between Mondays and Saturdays, you should be going through the regular curriculum, throw it up on AirPlay, throw it up on the TV, and you guys can watch that online, graceuniversity.com. And there's no excuse, you guys. When we open up the school again, it's going to be so dialed in.
Yes.
Can't wait to see
and
it.
Also, there is, so a couple things about what you have available to you in your dashboard on graceuniversity.com. You have 2 downloadable PDFs, okay? One of them is actually a progress tracker, and it has all of the Women Empowered classes, and you can print that out, and you can just mark it off and write the date next to it. So it's already there. You don't have to like.
And that has the recommended training schedule as well,
right?
right?
The recommended training
schedule. It shows
schedule
you which order.
Yes. So that's one. The other is the Empowerment Handbook. I think it's called the Women Empowered 2.0 Handbook on there. But it's this handbook, but
88-page handbook.
It's in PDF form.
Free.
So that's all in your library. If you go to My Files, you can download that, click on that, print it out, or just view it on your PDF reader. And it has so much important kind of the philosophy and the mindset kind of behind women empowered and self-defense. These techniques are great, but without understanding this mindset,
and you're tested on it in your pink belt test, and much of the philosophy is there as well that we need to test on.
Correct, yes.
It's free. And I feel like some of our students who train at the CTCs and who train at headquarters with us, they don't review this information often enough.
Yeah.
So ladies, if you're an actual student and you're going to class regularly, this is what you're mostly missing is the 4 phases, the triangle of victimization, these concepts. You need to understand these for your test and for your life. So this is a great time it's a very easy read, very fun, very informative details, tips you can immediately implement. So we highly recommend you guys get down with those.
That's right. And even the 4 phases that we talked about today, we kind of just wanted to recap those one more time. Those are in your handbook.
There it is.
This was the prototype, and I think this is the page that was glued together. So yours won't look like this, but ours is. I'm trying to get that page. But
let's talk about the 4 phases,
yes,
and I want to talk about the triangle of victimization a little bit as well.
Correct. So yeah,
because we're talking phase 1 survival.
Phase 1. So going back to the 4 phases, phase 1, identify an unsuspecting target.
Which means catch someone off guard, unsuspecting target.
And just to be clear, these phases, this is the objective of the potential perpetrator. It doesn't mean that's exactly what happens. It means that they could come up with their idea, their outline, and their plan. This is what it would look like. So for them, ideally, the person is unsuspecting. That doesn't mean that you must be unsuspecting in order for something to happen to you, right? But that's their ideal situation. And that's always what we think about when we talk about self-defense is if, it's not so much about beating the guy, it's about defeating their objective. What is their objective and how can we defeat that objective?
Absolutely. So when we talk about phase 1, which some of the concepts are covered in the book, but the most important thing we want to talk about for you guys is this triangle of victimization. It's very good at self-defense concept to understand from day 1 for anyone who's interested in personal safety. This idea that in order for an attack to take place, 3 things must coexist simultaneously. You must have the attacker, you must have the potential target, and you must have opportunity. Now, what is opportunity, right? Opportunity is the lowest chance of bystander intervention. So, underground, dark parking lot, an alley, walking home, walking to your car after the grocery store, jogging by yourself on a park trail that is completely isolated, even in broad daylight, that's still a prime opportunity because there's no chance or a lower chance of other bystanders intervening in a potential attack. So, the reason why it's important to understand the triangle is because once you understand that if there's an attacker and an opportunity but no target, you're safe. The attacker can hang out all he wants in the jungle. If no one's there, he can't attack anyone. If there's a target and an opportunity but no attacker, you're also safe. If there's a target and an attacker, but there's no opportunity, what's an example of that? Maybe the rapist, the neighborhood rapist that's been all over the news, is at the store shopping for food, and you're also at the store, but no one recognizes anyone because you all have these masks on now because you have face covering to protect from coronavirus. So you're there picking fruits. Next door to you in the banana section could be this sexual predator, but he can do no harm because there's other people in the store and he would not be able to execute to the full extent the assault that he might have planned.
Right, so the opportunity is not there.
Yes.
So then what is it that we're looking for? When we talk about being able to reduce our risks in this first phase, which is to identify an unsuspected target, right? Is to recognize those three items
must coexist.
Must coexist. So if there is
an opportunity.
Yes, if there's an opportunity, and really that's what it comes down to, is that if the opportunity is prime, which means bystander intervention is low, then then that means that
And
that's where vigilance should be in those classes, okay? So we'll quickly get through these next ones here, but so that's phase one, right? So basically vigilance, and I think here's the truth. Victoria and I are going to do a live on Wednesday. So we want you guys, yes, Victoria and I are going to go live. We're going to answer more some kind of like women-empowered psychology, mindset, just check in with you guys, see how you guys are doing. We haven't announced the time quite yet, but we're going to be announcing that very soon. So we're going to touch more on this kind of psychology. So that's that phase one is really, like there's so many kind of nuances about that, about how to, how to reduce your risk and how to address somebody who's potentially, a perpetrator. And we can go deep. We can go deep in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you mainly on touching the other phases right now, or phase two,
it's
3, 4?
11 o'clock. We
I think we gotta let them go, and we have so much more to cover, you guys, in the weeks to come. So let's do it. Let's pick a winner over there. I'll go pick while you talk to them about.
Okay, cool. We can't. I'm just going to rephrase the 4 phases one more time based on what we talked. So we went into phase one with the triangle of victory. Phase two, subdue and isolate. Okay, and that's where base comes into play, and all of the risk releases that we that we learned today. So that's all phase two. Phase two is basically do anything possible to not get taken from the primary crime scene and to not be isolated. And then phase three is to control and exhaust. And you saw that once things went to the ground, it became very different. Where if I just tried to escape without a plan, I would quickly deplete my energy. And so that's their objectives, to control and exhaust. And I would be completely exhausted, and then they would be able to carry out phase four. So that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu, is it gives us a plan in phase three so that we don't need to exhaust all of our energy, and we have a plan of escape. And then hopefully it never gets to phase four.
Boom. Thank you, Eve. And for our Women Empowered tank top is Mary Robertson from Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Madison.
Hey.
With our good friend Houston Cottrell over there, amazing instructor. And congratulations, Mary. This is yours. We're going to personalize it for you. All you have to do is talk to Madison, have him email us your preferred size, and talk to Houston at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Madison. Have Houston let me know which size you prefer. And we're going to take care of you guys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, you guys. This is so awesome. I was just looking at some of the people who are South Africa. They're out there in Cape Town. They're all over the place logging in. Hawaii, Louisville, all the CTCs that are killing it with Women Empowered instructors. We know you're watching as well. Thank you guys for your continued dedication, support. And students, you guys are in the greatest of hands. And we couldn't be happier to be here with you guys right now. We're going to keep this going next weekend. If you guys are down, we're down as well. And we'll bring more giveaways, more techniques, new concepts. Talk to your CTC owner. They're going to have all the time dialed in for next weekend. And they're going to send you guys the links. Make sure you guys have all the necessary information to them before they go.
Please stay healthy and stay safe.
And
we love you guys. Miss you so much.
Don't wait till next Sunday to practice these moves again. By the time we see you next Sunday, we want all of this dialed in. Perfect reflexes. Pink belt for life.